My life has changed completely because of two things: sports and education. And I would not be where I am today if it was not for the things I've learned at Clemson as a student athlete.
Growing up in Brazil, soccer was everything to Fabio Tambosi. He was the middle child of 3 brothers to his mom and dad, and spent his early teenage years playing in his home country's youth soccer professional academies. When he turned 16, he was invited to play on the first team at the academy. He accepted on the spot and went home to tell his parents of his plan to drop out of school and play soccer professionally.
My dad very calmly looked at me and said, "So where are you gonna live? Because to live here, you have to go to school and do really well." But I've always been a little bit of a rebel, so I just left home, moved to the dorms. And about a week later, my dad came and got me.
Fabio's father and mother told him they would be sending him to the United States as an exchange student for 6 months, where he would learn more about life outside of soccer and learn to speak English. So, he moved to Marietta, Georgia in 1998, not knowing a word of English. A friend from school invited him to play indoor soccer one weekend, and Fabio's talent was immediately evident. He was introduced to his high school soccer coach, Andy Kaplan, who convinced him to extend his stay another 6 months so he could play for the high school team during the spring season. He also took him to nearby college games, including a trip to Clemson University, where the Tigers were playing in the Elite Eight.
I actually got to see how big college sports in the US is. I was able to do 2 things. One is to get the degree that my father wanted me to do, and 2, to continue to chase my dream of playing professional soccer. And when I got to Clemson, I knew from that day that that's where I wanted to be.
Though his environment had changed, Fabio's dream of playing professional soccer did not, and he enrolled at Clemson with a plan.
The MLS Super Draft happens every January, and I knew that I wanted to go into the draft with a degree. I went to summer school every year so we could get ahead of the schedule and graduate in 3.5 years.
Fabio excelled while at Clemson. He was named All-ACC 3 straight seasons and helped the Tigers win an ACC championship in 2001. And, just as he planned, he graduated and received his degree in December 2002, a month before the 2003 MLS Super Draft. On January 19, 2003, Fabio heard the names of his teammates, Doug Warren, Ricky Lewis, and Dimilon Westfield, all selected by MLS teams. But his name was never called.
It was by far one of the hardest days of my life. I was pretty certain that I was going to get a shot, like a chance. It was a total shock, and I just couldn't understand. Soccer just meant everything to me and defined who I was as a person, and then suddenly all of that is just gone. It's vanished. It's very different, and it was very hard to go on. I was depressed for about 2 years. I couldn't watch soccer on TV for 2 years.
Fabio returned home to Brazil and suffered through a depression as he struggled with the loss of his dream and purpose. But it was the lessons he learned while at Clemson that enabled him to get back on his feet.
I remember my coach at Clemson used to tell me, "Fabio, I'm not teaching you to play soccer. I'm teaching you to be a better person. I'm teaching you to make better decisions, but also I'm teaching you to face and deal with adversities." And all these things that I've learned as a student athlete at Clemson, discipline, resilience, ability to bounce back, right? That's the things I carried with me into the corporate world and really helped me take that athlete mindset into businesses.
Returning home, Fabio again turned to education and pursued postgraduate marketing classes, then his MBA. He worked his way to an executive role with Nokia, then took a strategic leap of faith to try to land a job with Nike through the 2014 World Cup that was being hosted in Brazil.
I knew I want to go back into sports. I knew I had a calling to be working in soccer again. So I took a leap of faith, quit my job, and I didn't stop until I got my dream job as the brand lead for Nike in Brazil.
Fabio went on to become a senior marketing executive at Nike, as well as other major brands like Adidas, Saucony, and OneFootball. And now coming full circle, he also serves on the board of advisors for Clemson's College of Business and even teaches a marketing class as an adjunct professor in his spare time.
Because what education and Clemson did for me in my life, I wanted to help students the same way I had people helping me at Clemson. And in the corporate world, to be a leader, you have to create a shared vision, rally the team behind, secure resources. And in a way, you're no longer a player, you're now a coach. My lowest point was when I didn't get picked for the draft. But it was my time at Clemson that taught me that soccer was not an end, but it was a means to a much bigger life.